Joining us on the How Do You podcast today is Matt. Matt was the first ever podcast guest, and we're going to run it back for the first year anniversary. How are you doing today, Matt?
I'm really good, Taylor. I'm really good. Thanks for the invite. Bringing us back. It's been what 12 months. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, obviously, as far as I know, you're still in the same role as what you were when the podcast started, still a senior video journalist as Daily Mirror. But has anything changed since that last year? Because we've gone through a lot. There's a pandemic, there's new Prime Minister, the Queen has unfortunately died. There's lots of different stuff. So has it changed for you? Because obviously, in a newsroom and being a video journalist, there's a lot of stuff you can cover.
It's been a roller coaster, to put it mildly. Since we last spoke, of course, Boris was in number 10, but things very quickly descended into chaos and indeed farce. Uh, Not long after we spoke, and the cracks really started showing as the year went on, and the rate of change was really, really quick. It was incredibly quick, and it was obvious that there was a level of conceit in the government. And for us in the newsroom, you kind of saw it nationally. You could smell blood in the water. Something had to give. Something had to give really, really quickly. But the way in which it changed, no one saw that coming. No one saw Rishi Sunak falling on his sword and resigning publicly. No one saw Sajid Javid resigning in the way that he did. And it just made it so quick and relentless, which is why I made the Succession video, which I actually started just under a year ago. But I could tell back at around Christmas time when I really got into Succession, I was late to the party, that that actually had overlap with what was going on. And when I could see that Boris's time was up, so actually, you're onto something there, Matt. Get the video done. That will work really well. And it got a nice little run of shares and likes when we got it up online. And of course, there's been the death of the Queen. That was a once in a lifetime event that you'll never see again. I was outside of Buckingham Palace when the flag fell at half mast. So in the newsroom, whispers started very early on in the day. Something's wrong, and we work across a series of WhatsApp groups, and it was obvious that something is going to happen. And we start getting messages. Right, a contact is saying that the military's been deployed to Balmoral. The Royals are flying up there. Now, I was on desk at the time, and I could tell something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. And my own contacts are messaging me saying, "We think she's gone. Yeah, but it will be announced before the 6 o'clock news." Like, all right. So now the wheels are turning. All right, something is going to happen. I want to be there. And I'm watching it and I'm watching it. I'm watching it play out. I had a few other bits and pieces to deal with because, of course, we went out on strike as well. So I've been dealing with the consequences and the fallout of that with industrial relations and talking to people and looking at how we can navigate our way out of that dispute. And I remember it very, very clearly. I'm watching the different messages come in. I need to get outside of Buckingham Palace before the media circus really arrives, which it did in force, as you'd expect. And I got down there. I didn't have a lot of kit on me. I thought mobile was going to be all right for now because mobile signal won't get hit by the demand on 4G and 5G around there. And I'm just wondering, and I'm getting feedback saying it'll be before the 6. It'll be before the 6. I'm there at about 5:30 ish. I had heard that it might be announced before 5, but it didn't happen. And everyone outside of Buckingham Palace is walking around in a bit of a trance. They don't know. It's not official. It looks like it is, but it's not official. And I could see movement. As I previously said before, the key with this job is always your eyes. Look at what's going on and try and get ahead of it. And I could see people moving to the gates. I'm like, all right, there's something going on. I moved to the left. So where you've got the Victoria um, Memorial, I moved to the left of to the left of Buckingham Palace and walked along to see what the police were doing that were out there, how they were moving. And as I got to the front gates and looked up, you heard the crowd sigh because the flag had fallen. And I will never forget that atmosphere of people just being in shock. She's gone. This has happened. And it's a sign of the times. I looked around and everyone's got their phone up, pointing at the flagpole. Everyone's got it up. Everyone's looking at it. And then, because as is the way when a sovereign dies, they brought out the official announcement on the easel to put on the main gates down on the right of Buckingham Palace where the cars come out. And people are now running down there because they want to get the photo. They want to see it. So I followed that down, and then as I'm filming the crowd there, you then see the parks team and the police start bringing out the fences, so they're starting to prepare for the real arrival of the crowd. And that really was something that will sit with me for a very, very long while, where you just see that and realize I was there. And that's the sort of thing that makes this job worthwhile, because you can say, I was there when the flag dropped, I was there when it was officially announced to the nation, to the world, that Queen Elizabeth II had died. And that's really set the tone, to be honest with you, because every other day, there's something that's unprecedented. Every other day, we're in unprecedented times. Look at what's happening with the economy right now. It's unprecedented. It's like an episode of Sesame Street. Today, the United Kingdom has been brought to you by the letters 666 and the word unprecedented. It's mad. One of the things that's really become obvious in this job over the course of the last 12 months, actually, is always being aware of what's going on around you, being observant about the world. As I said, it's all about the eyes. What you witness could actually be a really important story, and you've got to be switched on for it. So I'd visited Nuneaton, as you well know, your backyard, your manor, and I saw the tributes to Azalea Kane, and I knew that Ashley Kane was running I believe it was called the Mega Marathon from Nuneaton to London. And I wanted to see that because I felt that story, that's something I wanted to see, but I was very much there on a personal capacity. It was something that felt important to witness. And I had my camera with me, so I thought I might be able to get some good photos, and I did. But the timings of this were off. So the idea of when Ashley and his team would arrive in London was actually was pretty off, as I said. So I'm there very early, and for those of you that have never seen Trafalgar Square early in the morning, it's always a very interesting sight. You see them hosing it down. You see the man with the hawk master, walking around to let the hawk take out the pigeons before they turn on the fountains. And I'm waiting. I've had my coffee, and I see the group that are waiting for Ashley to turn up. And time ticks by, time ticks by. We get to about 12 o'clock, and it's Trafalgar Square on a Sunday. It's heaving, blazing sunshine. But you see the public wardens that walk around Trafalgar Square, making sure you don't throw chewing gum on the floor, or you don't say something bad about Theresa May or Boris Johnson. And they start blowing a whistle, and they're getting really animated. Now I'm looking around thinking, what's going on? This makes absolute what? This makes no sense. I heard a helicopter circling. The air ambulance was in a holding pattern, and it wanted to land in Trafalgar Square. Now, for those of you that don't live in London, to see that happen in Trafalgar Square, it's unusual. It's not rare, but it is unusual. So the switch goes in the head. I'm going from personal to professional. Like, all right, there's something going on here. I very quickly eyeball where's going to be the best camera point. So I'm at the foot of the stairs to the right hand side, and the first thing I see is the shadow of the helicopter as it's about to land. So I get the phone out and I start recording it, and you don't realize the strength of the air ambulance rotor when it starts landing and the dust's flying up, and it takes a lot of effort to keep that camera steady. And I've got this image of the air ambulance landing, and I'm like, oh, actually, this is a really good video. The shadow, the fountain, the water and the fountain blowing off. We've got the column in the background. All right, this is pretty decent. So I made a little tweet about it. Bang, phone goes off. It's the newsroom. Matt, can we use your video? Yeah, sure. Usual rule. Then the phone goes again. The Express wants it. The Star wants it. All right. Now, what I didn't realise, but again, because you've always got to learn, especially over the course of the last 12 months, such a changeable news environment, what's happened? It turns out that there was a really bad traffic accident that had happened around Charing Cross Road. And the air ambulance team had to get there pretty sharpish. And being able to respond quickly, efficiently, but also then understanding there's changes there's changes going on. What is it? What is it? What does it mean? What's the impact of it? That's really typified for me what this year has been like. That we've gone from, you can go from just a personal observation to something that's incredibly real and is incredibly tangible. um I was with Steve Bray uh around Westminster. This was around the time, actually it was on the evening where the mass redundancies, the mass resignations from the government were taking place. I think following Steve Bray will be a bit of a giggle. I didn't realise just how badly he was interrupting broadcasts from Sky News with what he was doing. And so again, uh, just a personal little foray into London turned into a bit of a professional trip, because he was getting under the skin of Sky News, of LBC, where he's blaring out his songs. And that really, for me, is what this year's been like. You can go out for a bit of a wander, a bit of a mooch, but then something will happen and you're back in the zone again. There's something professional. You've got to be on it because you might be the first one on the scene. That's always really important.
It's quite crazy what's going on, but would you say that the work that you did surrounding the Queen, or maybe surrounding Boris's leave of office, would be your proudest? Or is there another piece of work that you've done since, say, I don't know, the Magnum shop, or since sitting on the bus when the Euros or the World Cup was happening, that you can decide to be your proudest? Because there's a lot of stuff that you must have been able to cover.
I'm proud of everything. There isn't something where I'll go, "Oh, that's exceptional. I'm really proud of that." Outside of everything else, I don't really look at my work in that way of, I'm proud of this, but I'm not proud of that. There's always a story in something that I filmed. There's always a story in something that I photograph or something that I've captured that I won't replicate elsewhere. I'll try, I'll fail, because you can't capture lightning in a bottle. Certainly not twice. So being outside of Buckingham Palace when the flag fell, that's an example of news sense. And I'm proud that my news sense told me, get down there. Get down there. Don't watch it on a screen like this. Get down there, see it, witness it, watch it, be a part of it, understand it, see the emotions and things that I'll remember. Grown adults walking around with little mobile gimbals crying as they're live streaming. What on earth? But I saw that. I understood that, and seeing the world's media arrive down the Mall and talking to people. Um, it was about ooh, it was about 3 days after she died, 3 4 days after she died, on the Monday. Actually, I went down to the Mall really early. We're talking like 5:30 in the morning, and I met some of the people that were camping out on the Mall early. that were there. Again, I'm proud of that because I spoke to them and I understood them, and you see it, you understand those little nuanced elements that come together to make history. With Boris, well, I think I'm proud of the Succession video because that's an example of having an idea, being a little bit ahead, thinking that might work, and then not binning it and going, "No, I'm bored with it now. It's going to be too much effort to get it done." Actually following it through, as I've always said to people, if an idea is worth doing, you will see it through to the end, as you've done with this podcast. And to say, actually, that will work, and the use the idea of that title sequence to tell the story of the rise and fall of Boris Johnson, which is what I wanted to do. That it is about, it was a matter of succession, and the Conservative Party is based on that idea of continual succession. It's almost Shakespearean. But I could go on. There are photos that I could tell you that I'm proud of, but I'm proud of everything I do. You should always take pride in what you've tried to achieve, what you've tried to accomplish, and learn from it. I'm proud of that, but I could improve that. So next time, you can look at what you achieved, but say I can improve on that, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this next time.
Would you still name your autobiography From Nightclubs to Newsrooms?
Yeah, hands down. It's a fantastic title. Because that is the story of my own professional journey, and I'm very proud and I'm very honoured that this year I'll be a visiting lecturer at City at the School of Journalism. So I'll be lecturing students in video. I'll be able to use my experiences. I'll be able to use what I've learned from nightclubs and newsrooms to teach the future generation of journalists coming up. And City remains one of the go-to authorities for people to study in this field. We've never needed journalism more. We've never needed digital skills more. So to be able to teach people about video, to get them invested, get them involved, get them passionate, enthused, and energized about video, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and it's something that I'm incredibly proud of, and I take a lot of smug satisfaction from the fact that I'll be doing it from people that had previously told me, "Video, that's not going to do anything. What are you doing that for? You're wasting your time. Get a proper job." Hmm. All right.
Since you were last on the podcast, you mentioned that you kind of get bored and you use that as your motivation. Is that still the case?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Boredom is a fantastic motivator. I will sit and I'll watch something and boredom will hit me, but then that all boredom is what happens when you shake an etch a sketch clean.
Yeah.
Your head is full of scribble and nonsense, and boredom just comes back and goes, "No, less of that," shakes it clean, and then it's a clean slate and gives you an opportunity to think, "Oh, I've never done that before. I've never tried that before." And there are things that I thought about through boredom that I've still got to get done, and I will get it done. But it always gives me that opportunity to just sit back and think, "Well, I'm bored. I need something to do." And the minute that those two cogs start, bang, something will arrive. Something will hit me. And I'll think, "Yeah, actually, that'll work. I'll go out and do that. Yeah, that'll work. I'll go out and do that." So, yeah, I love being bored. It's fantastic.
Obviously, we covered your journey on how you got into the Daily Mirror. You kind of made your own way there, as well as making sure that everything kind of aligned for you because you're a creative person. You'll make sure that happens. But has there ever been a time where, say, the boredom has struck and it has gone wrong from the last time that we spoke?
No, is the short answer. Very conceited answer. Very, very matter of fact answer. But no, there hasn't been because there's always a way to make it work. And even if it doesn't work, you recognize where it doesn't work and you don't take it personally. You go, "Well, it could have worked, but there were some things that were out of my control." And you got to be on and never use it as an excuse. Never use it as an excuse. Never throw your hands up in the air and go, "Ooh, well, it's out my control. Out my control. Nothing I could do there, lads. Soz." No, be honest. Sometimes, if it's out of your control, you just got to go. Sometimes You can't win, but you can do your best and bring it to the point where you're really close at winning, really close at being a success. But it's not going to. Sometimes you just got to roll with the punches. It won't go the way that you hope it will. That doesn't mean that you don't try. So it's yeah. I've always given my best, and if it doesn't work, then I'll just go. Well, it won't work. Sometimes I'll step up. Sometimes I'll try and go a little bit further, make it work. But you kind of go, that's as far as we've gone. There have been the dispute at work with regards to what led to and resulted in the strike action. It did go a little bit wrong there, but again, there was a lot more going on above and around me. I did what I could for our guys. I'm proud of what we did. I'm proud of what we achieved and what we accomplished. Do I hope it could have gone better? Absolutely. Do I think we could have achieved better? Probably not, because there were other things going on that I didn't have a handle on. And I couldn't get a handle on because it was going on way above me. So you just accept it and you move on. Never dwell on the past. Never dwell on the past needlessly. You will always find a way to be critical if you do that, and always it'll always hold you back. And I try not to do that. I've been very guilty of it. I've been very, very guilty of it. But as I've gotten older, I've tried to understand it's in the past, leave it there, learn from it, take the lessons from it, try to understand what brought that about, and don't make the same mistake twice.
Since you've been able to kind of take that on board, and since the podcast has been a year already, which is quite crazy to think, a lot of stuff has changed throughout many people's lives. Has there been a situation in your life where it's taken you by surprise, or it's added a little bit of stress which you wish there wasn't there?
Um, Life is always full of stress, Taylor. It's an unavoidable fact. The fact that we exist on this planet is full of stress. It's how you manage, identify, and work with that stress that makes the difference. Has there been stress in my life that's been a surprise to me? Absolutely. Has there been stress that I've not been expecting? Absolutely. But it's about how you recognize it, deal with it, and don't let it weigh on your back. Stress shouldn't be breathing on the back of your neck all of the time. It shouldn't. Stress should be something that you recognize, you use to motivate you use to drive you to reach an outcome that perhaps you didn't feel confident of achieving, perhaps you felt unable to reach, but you never let stress get to you needlessly because it can affect your health. Again, I speak from experience. So there has been instances where stress has appeared out of nowhere, but you always let yourself have an opportunity to blow off steam, and I do a lot. I'll swear, I'll get angry, but once I've worked that out of my system, then clarity will emerge, and I'll know actually, now I know what I need to do. Now I know what I need to get done, and then the solution will invariably present itself.
Well, like it goes back to what you said beforehand. There's always a way of fixing something if something goes wrong, and you can always adapt. But obviously, you work as a video journalist. You've been working your way up as a producer, content producer, lots of different stuff under your umbrella. But if somebody came to you, what would you say you do?
I have a good time. That's what I would tell them. I have a good time. I en- I enjoy what I do. Um, I'm a jack of all trades and master of none. I couldn't. I was once described by an ex girlfriend of mine as being Chandler Bing
Oh dear.
because for a great many series in Chandler, great many series in Chandler, great many series in Friends, no one knew what Chandler did. They just knew he was there. I was the same. No one knew. No one knew what I did. He worked in a nightclub. No, he worked in a students' union. No, he made DVDs. No, he filmed stuff. No one knew. No one really still knows. I can guarantee there will be friends from uni and probably even that ex-girlfriend. Well, she wouldn't know what I got up to 'cause I blocked her on most things, but hey ho. Um, would still think that, oh, I don't know what Matt does. And I like that because it's all about learning and adapting and being known for different things amongst different people. So yeah, that's what I would say. I wouldn't put a label on what I do. And I mean, I've said it before in conversations with people. When people say, "Oh, Matt, are you a video journalist?" I laugh when I hear that because it doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem right. But other people say, "Oh, Matt, are you a lecturer at City?" I'll laugh when I hear that too because it doesn't seem real. You just learn to accept that what I do is out there. There's something that I could be doing right now. There's a thought I've not had. There's an experience I've not enjoyed. A photograph I've not taken. That's what I do. I look out and see what's next. That's what's important. Well, that's incredibly deep. Good Lord. I should probably write a book.
From nightclubs to newsrooms won't be long. But I want to know. Obviously, you create a lot of video, you create a lot of content, you write, you do lots of different stuff. But just because you do that doesn't mean that's what you do all the time. You consume music, you consume photographs, you consume other kinds of media. But if I had to ask you, what kind of stuff are you watching at the moment, or what are you listening to? Is there a particular thing that you've kind of just dug deep into?
I enjoy just exploring what's on. So I've last night I watched a really fantastic documentary, two-parter on iPlayer about the trouble with Top Shop. Really loved that. I could enjoy that on a personal level. Um, I could enjoy that on a professional level. How it was edited, the simplicity of the format, that was really good. Documentaries are something I really enjoy learning new things. So the Wrexham documentary on Disney Plus, fantastic series. Really enjoy that. And as I've got my Eagles shirt on, I see the comparisons why Rob McElhaney saw something in Wrexham that was similar to Philadelphia. I get that. I really get that. Now I've seen the documentary, it makes complete sense to me. Um, I was at the premiere of Andor in London last week, so I look forward to watching the next episodes of that. That'll be a lot of fun. Um, it's what presents itself. The new Quantum Leap I've been watching. I was a big fan of that in the 90s, so I'm very interested in how reboots go. Reboots are always interesting for me to see what callbacks a creator will make to the original series, as we saw with Galactica, as well as what they're doing that's new, that's different.
It's obviously ever evolving form. There's lots of different stuff happening with lots of different people kind of getting involved. Like you say, with you teaching at a city, there's going to be a lot of different people that you teach, which will then ultimately end up in the industry, hopefully, and have an effect in their own different way. But you must see a lot of different stuff go down, and I must believe that you've got a lot of pet peeves of people in the industry. What is your biggest?
Ooh. Oh, there's loads. There's absolutely loads. I hate LinkedIn for people that come out and will talk their achievements up to the point that it is utterly absurd. Utterly absurd. Where there is an oversell. There is a big no-no with content, particularly with journalism, where you don't oversell. You don't oversell a story. You don't oversell a video. Don't overcook it, and people overcook what they do, thinking that. They're just being confident. Yeah, you are being confident, and you're also being a dick. I've I've seen people on LinkedIn share screen grabs of them talking about the death of the Queen. Well done, well done. You've been approached by international press. You've been approached by the national press to talk about the Queen. That should be something that you should be proud of. Yes, something you should talk about. Yes, but not something that you suggest that you're in any way influencing the national debate. No, 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 no. You have a role to play. You have a part to play, but measure yourself. Be measured. There's nothing wrong with saying, I've done this. I'm proud of what I've done. But you don't say, I'm proud of this, and people have followed my opinions. I am an influencer. I will influence you. Get in the bin. You're not going to influence anyone. That annoys me. And also, I'm turning into Peter Griffin. The other thing that really grinds my gears is just how people have now suddenly cottoned on to video. Ros Atkins has a lot to answer for. Ros Atkins' BBC explainers are phenomenal. They are exceptional. They set the agenda. They explain news in a way that is snackable, that is concise, that is pitch perfect. And so many other news publishers have looked at this and gone, lads, we should probably do video. Can you do that, but cheaper and more quickly? No. Video needs an authority behind it. It needs voice. It needs resource. It needs planning. It needs preparation. It needs infrastructure. It needs an agenda. It needs a strategy. The more you copy what people do, the less authentic you will be. And the recent changes to the Google algorithm showing the fall in organic search shows the need for an authentic voice, for an original voice. If all you're doing is repackaging content, if all you're doing is just copying and imitating and aping people, you will never be a success. And seeing people just go, oh, well, we're going to move to video again. I guarantee every publisher, every broadcaster that looks at social video, that looks at video content like that, they're going to fail. And 9 times out of 10, they do. The only reason those that should fail don't is because they've got the money to keep it going. That's what annoys me really, really badly, because it reflects really badly on myself and on other colleagues, because we become diminished and devalued by people's impressions. Oh, this is what video is. This is what video does. The real lack of understanding about the power that video can have, the real lack of understanding about the influence, the real tangible influence that video can have, is remarkable. I took one video. It was before we spoke a year ago. It was during an anti vax protest. I remember where I was stood. The anti vaxxers were being very vocal, as they always were. But they came past Buckingham Palace and they started chanting about Prince Andrew, and they started chanting about the royal family. That video did the rounds quite a lot because we'd never really seen that before. And obviously, where we are now, we chalk and cheese, it's night and day. But that video had influence because people saw, oh, there is a protest going on, and actually they're turning their eye towards Buckingham Palace. Video has power. Video has strength, and it needs a focus and a deft touch that's just lacking, because we exist in the here and now. We need this content out because people are looking at it on their phones. They're looking at it. They want to see it here, and sometimes that's to our absolute detriment. The very recent video that came out Sunday night, of the BBC's editorial guidelines. That piece of video, I will tell every journalism student I meet at City to go and watch. I tell every viewer that's watching this to go and watch it. It is a phenomenal video that really doesn't pull its punches. It shows you what has gone on. with the BBC when they've been out in Ukraine. And what really grabs me is there is a sequence in it where the journalist Jeremy Bowen, you see his pained expression when he's in what looks like a car driving away from one element of the conflict, and you don't normally see that. You don't normally see a journalist for the BBC showing emotion, showing that human side of things, but balancing it with the requirements that the type of journalism the BBC has requires. It's that video, and frankly, I'm annoyed I didn't edit it. Frankly, it's one of those again where boredom will hit me, and I think, could we do something similar? Is there something we could do that's like that? Is there something we could do that's maybe unique? So again, I know boredom will go revisit that, think about that. Could we do something similar? Is there something relevant? And pull from it. See, video, when people get video right, I will praise it to the hilt. When people get video wrong, it annoys me because it feels like it sets professionals in this field back, and we deserve better.
Quite impactful words, but I want to know if I had to ask you to choose what means most to you currently, would you be able to choose something
What means most to me,
in life? It could be in work, in life, in anything.
being able to see tomorrow. There's always possibility in tomorrow. And that means the most that you can wake up. You wake up, there's something to be done, there's people to talk to. You should always live life in a way that is meaningful. And it means a lot to me that I've been able to get up in the morning. After my cancer surgery in August, I spent a lot of time in bed. Um, and where my just to describe it, where my bed is, I have this huge window, and there was a massive cherry tree outside of it, and I spent months just watching the seasons change. And you think, actually, I'm really grateful that I've been able to come out of this. I had some complications not long after my surgery, and I was in the ward, and I overheard some horrible conversations that were going on with other people. And it just made me stop and think, I'm going to be able to walk out of here. There was one man opposite me. I couldn't say the same for him with what he was going through. And I won't go into detail, but listening to what his family were being told, listening to what he was being told, uh, I wish nothing but the best for him. But I came out of the hospital that time thinking, I'm bloody lucky. I'm bloody lucky. And the fact that I can sit in my local coffee shop, enjoy a coffee, I can look at my phone, I can take photos, I can shoot video, I can travel, I can talk to people, I can engage with people, I can make friends, I can fall out with people. All of that is a privilege. All of that is an absolute privilege. And so professionally, I have a fantastic job, mostly that pays the bills, that puts me in positions of immense privilege, of immense professional excitement sometimes. But that could end tomorrow. It could end like that. But what matters is I could still wake up. I could still enjoy the sunshine. I could still enjoy a walk and find something else to do. That's what really matters to me and will always matter. It will absolutely, absolutely always matter. Absolutely.
Wow. I'm quite taken back, but last time I asked you a question on a bit of advice, and you said never take anybody's advice.
Quite right.
Do you still live by that, or has there been a situation on the since the past year that we've spoke that you've had to take somebody's advice, or is there a bit of advice now that with what you've been through, with what you just kind of spoke about, and situations that people have been put in, that you do have a bit of advice?
Now, to be clear, if someone offers you advice, always listen. Always listen. They're talking to you for a reason, and it's on you to understand what that reason is. Now, someone is either giving you advice because they've made mistakes and they don't want you to make those mistakes, and they want to help you avoid those pitfalls. Sometimes people want to offer you advice because they like the sound of their own voice. Right now, I hate the sound of my own voice because I am full of cold. So it's something which I try to limit wherever possible, exception being, of course, being on this podcast. My point still remains. If people ask for advice, I'll give it. But if people come to me looking for advice in a way where you think they would be best served going on their own journey, I won't give any advice. You shouldn't listen to me. Your journey is your journey. What you do is what you do. Now, if you come to me and say, Matt, what would you do here? I'll give you some advice. Sometimes people won't like it. I've fallen out with people when they've asked me my opinion, then immediately regretted it. My very good friend, my best friend, once told me, I really appreciate your advice, but sometimes it hurts. Don't ask me my advice then. I think it's important that it's you always send the lift back down. You always send the lift back down. And one of the reasons why I'm taking this job at City is I want to help people, young people with talent and potential, do the very best that they can. Because in this industry, there are a lot of dicks, and it's important for people to feel equipped, to feel strong, to feel that they have the right to be in the newsroom. Some people will come in, they'll suffer really badly from imposter syndrome. And that's terrible. It's awful when you see young people and they're just being belittled and they're told, get in the corner, stay where you are, stay in your lane. Those young people have ideas, they have thoughts, they have concepts that you've not even considered. Listen to them, bring them on board, make them feel part of a team, bring them together. And that's the important thing. So I stand by the advice I was given in the Edinburgh Television Festival. If anyone ever comes to you looking for top tips, that you should always have those top three. Never ask anyone for their top tips. Never listen to a word I'm saying, and good luck. That's 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 really key. If people ever want to talk to me, they can talk to me. I'll always listen. Someone I got to know through the National Student Television Association's alumni um, mentoring scheme. We were comparing notes. Sadly, never got to meet, but she's now studying journalism in France. I'm incredibly proud of that. And apparently, she's learnt a lot from me. Don't know why. We barely spoke, but I'm nevertheless proud of what she's doing, and I look forward to seeing what she accomplishes. Because it takes a lot to be studying where she is, working for Euronews, and I think she will go on to immense success. That's how I offer advice. I don't offer it out as a way to self-publicize, which a lot of people do. Advice should be there because people need it. Advice shouldn't be offered because you feel that people aren't paying attention to you. That's a load of bollocks.